So the teaser for the later half of this season shows a great deal of what it's going to be focusing on, and generally what the story is going to be about. Every teaser AMC releases tries to jumble up the timeline of the episode so we can't really figure out what's going on. So I have these specific scenes from the teaser and I ordered them in a way that makes sense, based on like time of day and where the characters are. Like first, of course, we will have the conclusion to the graveyard scene, where our group will still fend off the Whisperers, and of course we're going to be recreating that creepy Whisperer vibe that we got from the last episode. We can see here that one of the Whisperers runs at Michonne with a sword or a knife. Because she specifically stands out, it could be Lydia, but likely not. Lydia does have a redemption story later on, so it would be more unlikely if Lydia tried to kill Michonne. Lydia will probably be found at the end of this battle. Also in the next shot we can see her being brought back to the hilltop and she's wearing black. And of course at the tail end of this group we see Jesus' body is thrown over the horse, being brought back to the hilltop to be buried. At this point Daryl, but more likely Aaron, already put a knife in his head, as to prevent him from coming back as a walker. Aaron, in this scene being the closest to him, does kind of signify how much this loss affected him the most. We then see Lydia talking to Daryl in the prison, being almost manipulative, trying to get Daryl to join them, stating how much he does not belong with the hilltop. When I first saw this, I thought she was speaking to Henry, but we can clearly see from the angle of her head from that shot from the close-up and this shot here that she's talking to Daryl. So we don't yet know how Lydia and Henry are going to get along, and we have no hint of the dynamic that they're soon going to have based on the comics. Deller throws open the cellar doors, either finding out Negan escaped or going to talk to Lydia, being very angry about this new group that killed his friend. Gabriel is no doubt upset he is entirely responsible for letting Negan out, and it's trying to come to grips with it. After bringing Jesus back to the hilltop, we get his funeral, and there are many more graves in here which I find to be kind of interesting. Are the dead people here kind of related to the conflict with Michonne? I really want to know. Whatever it is, we know a lot of people have died within those 6 years. After all that, the Whisperers realize Lydia is gone and they head to the hilltop. This is probably a scene of them wondering whether or not the Walker is a human or the real thing. And the Whisperers, of course, arrive at the hilltop. Alpha, we can see, is walking straight up to the gate, not afraid of the hilltop residents at all. She wants her daughter back. Daryl is then the one that's sent to head out and greet her, having a one-on-one with the Whisperer leader. Notice that Beta is nowhere in sight. He's going to be introduced a bit later. So it's hard to place exactly when they have that fair. We know from the comics that Alpha is in the fair as a disguise spying on the hilltop, and after that she does something very, very gruesome, so maybe the fair happens a bit later on. For the rest of the teaser, we have a bunch of random shots of people doing things. It's hard to say much about what's going on here. It's just kind of the in-between stuff. But we do get the great introduction of Beta here, which, and I love how it does him justice by showing how powerful he is, not only by taking the knife cuts from Daryl, but also carrying Daryl and slamming him against the wall. I just thought that was amazing. And of course, lastly, we have Negan, who returns to his home, which is, likely going to be empty because after 6 years, the remnants of his group have either joined the hilltop or Alexandria, or became scavengers, picking off hilltop residents as they travel outside their walls. The same group that Carol burnt alive in the previous episode. But that's all we got so far. It looks like it's going to be a really good end of the season, and I really appreciate the fast pace the new showrunner is going at. It's no longer dragged out and slowed down like especially the Whisperers in the comics. But as usual, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.